Hello, and welcome to the We Get to Do This podcast. My name is Kailee.
And I'm Jacob.
And we are your co-hosts.
In this show, we're going to dive into all things our lives, from our partnership to romance to entrepreneurship to growing our businesses together, our fitness journeys, and we're going to have a ton of different guests on that relate to what I just said in some way. We're hoping you enjoy the show, and if you do,
please feel free to follow us, leave us a 5-star review on wherever you listen to your podcasts, and enjoy.
And if you don't like the show, tough. Thank you.
Thanks. Hello, and welcome to the We Get to Do This podcast.
Forgot I have to turn that off. Welcome back, episode 19. We get to do this podcast. We have a lot of energy because it's 3 p.m. on a Sunday, and normally we get these done at like 8 p.m. on a Sunday or a Tuesday. So I feel great.
And it's really sunny, and we just had a nice 4-day weekend.
4-day weekend, yeah. I worked Friday, but it didn't feel like work. It was amazing.
Yeah, we had a really good weekend.
Yeah. I feel pretty refreshed. Taper's hitting. I got anxiety nerves, so I just am like jittery and nervous in a different way, you know?
How are you feeling?
Really excited.
Less than a week out.
Really excited. I'm ready to do it. I'm ready to the goal sub 310 at California International Marathon. A week from today, I'll be done. Going to try to just soak up this last 7 days. We did it. Now it's like, this is our spotlight, right? So it's our time to go have some fun. We got a big group going out. Josh is coming out to document it. Episode 5 of the We Get to Do This DocuSeries comes out this Friday, which doesn't include CIM. It includes like right up into it. And then the final episode will include CIM, which will come out probably in January. And that's the series.
Wow.
So that'll be cool. And I'm excited. I'm also relieved, but the job's not done yet. So I'm very much trying to stay focused and focused on everything I can control this week. I'm going to cut out caffeine now starting tomorrow until race day. I am being very, very diligent about not eating close to bed 2 days in a row so far. Although today I had ice cream and pie, but it was like 1 p.m. So yeah, I'm going to be really diligent about that. Just getting good sleep all week, carb loading all week, doing all the things because I'm not really running much, right? So we're ready. 7:14 pace, you know, that's the goal. We're just going to try to hold it for 26 miles. So
you've got that.
Yeah. Met with Matt yesterday, got the fueling down, got our pacing, everything. We're ready to go. It's just, let's go do it. So
sauna every night.
Next time we record a podcast, well, no, because we'll record on Thursday. So it'll be 2 weeks until our audience gets to hear the CAM recap. So,
because I will also be gone this coming weekend for something slightly different,
but just as important.
If
not more.
You said it, not me. I get to see the Queen Taylor herself.
Did you just call Taylor the Queen? Is
sorry,
that allowed?
Beyonce. I'm sorry. She's my queen. I get to see the one and only Taylor Swift in Vancouver next weekend. They just happen to be the exact same dates and times that we're gone. I will unfortunately not be there.
Can you explain what the hype is about Taylor Swift?
We should probably save that for another episode. That's what we should do for number 20. 10 things we love about Taylor.
No.
Sounds great.
Just like actually very briefly, can you just say like why Taylor Swift is so incredible?
She's the first self-made woman billionaire for music. It's pretty badass. She writes all of her own music, produces this music. She has so many albums, and just in the last, she's been on tour now since March of 2023, putting on 3-hour concerts, back-to-back nights in a row of her own music. Not many people can do that and put on an incredible show every single night where she's selling out stadiums multiple nights in a row. That's pretty unusual, especially for a single female artist to be doing that. And I think what makes her stand out too is she just I feel like she's truly dedicated her lives to the fans. And I know I'm saying that as a fangirl, but like when you go to her concerts, everything she does and everything she says is she does it for the fans, which is kind of cool.
How do you feel like so many people feel, at least from my eyes, it seems like feel so connected to her. It reminds me of like if she was an influencer kind of on social media, you know how like I'll fanboy over Nick Bear a little bit, right? And he's on like his social media though, talking to the camera, connecting through podcast. You know what I'm saying? Where I feel, am I just not following Taylor enough, or like where is that? Because she clearly has the connection. People are very connected to her, and they feel like, because the thing with influencers almost, it's like people feel like they have a friend. It's like watching, you know, like when you watched Friends or any sitcom or whatever for the first time and you felt like, oh, I'm connected to these characters. And then it was kind of eye-opening to realize when other people talked about it, like, oh, you're not actually as connected as you think. I feel like influencers are kind of like that. Like we get these built-in friends almost in our social media apps because they're talking right to us, right? And my point is that Taylor seems to have that without having to do that. And I don't understand how. Do you know what I mean?
But that's not true because basically, I mean, this is sales too.
Right.
Telling stories to connect to your audience. Like that's all influencers are. That's all marketing is. Like if you look at any social media stuff, everything is tell your story, connect with your audience, make them seem like your friend. She just does that through music. And for a lot of us, like me, I've been growing up with her. She's only a few years older than I am. So every time I hear songs from like, say, her Fearless album, I'm immediately transported back to like high school and breakups. And it's that like nostalgia. But then she also has the younger generation now, like your sister, for example. And I think it's just all through her music. And then she also leaves her Easter eggs everywhere with like her numbers, like the number 13. And we're always like guessing and trying to figure out what she's up to next. And a lot of times she actually is leaving these like little Easter eggs. So I think it's incredibly creative of her too. I'm not very good at following all of those things, but I mean, there's a whole TikTok world of just following those.
And does she do interviews a lot and different?
Like I wouldn't say she does a lot. I feel like every few years she kind of goes into hibernation mode, especially when she was like dating Joe Alwyn, for example. Then she wasn't really in the spotlight as much.
Right.
But now that she's doing her concert, she has the Eras documentary. She's done documentaries on Netflix that you can watch. So, I mean, there's a good amount out there about her too.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. It's just...
But her story, I just believe, is through music because you can like feel her pain as she's singing it and in the lyrics. And then you connect with that because it all is so real.
Interesting.
Like anyone who's had like a heartbreak, for example, you can just connect with that. And then there's just so much of it that it's easy to find at least one song that you connect with. And just, again, we could go on all day, but her changing of genres, I mean, like Post Malone. It's like she does country, she does pop, she had her more like edgy side when Reputation came out. I mean, she covers a very wide range of music.
Right.
And again, it's very talented. Poetry. Anyways, we're gonna not keep the intro.
No, I was curious about that.
Yeah, so. I'm a passionate Swiftie over here, and anyone who's writing their own music, producing their own music. I mean, think if you were running CIM next week and belting out Taylor's concert the entire time. I know she's not running, but like she's performing on high heels in front of an entire stadium, and her stage. I mean, you watched the movie. Her stage is extremely long and she's just going up and down that dancing the entire time. So in my mind, she's also an athlete.
She's wild.
She's wild. I mean, just like the physical talent too is just pretty incredible that she's able to have the stamina to be doing this night after night.
So Kailee loves Taylor. And
we might lose some followers for
or this. We're going to gain a lot.
Or we're going to gain a lot.
Episode 19, here we are.
Anyway,
what are we talking about today, Kailee, after that wonderful intro?
Thank you. Well, it was Thanksgiving week, and I feel like this time of year, especially as things get colder, darker, start slowing down, and just with the holidays, it causes a lot of people to reflect and think what we're grateful for. Or at least that's something that happens with me. And I think sometimes people don't understand the impact and the power of gratitude. And so we just kind of wanted to talk about that today, because I think it can be a pretty transformative practice in your life if you're implementing a gratitude practice. And
I think do you want to share the benefits of gratitude first? And then we'll go over how we both implement gratitude.
Yeah, so I think the cool thing is that, you can do your own practice on this, and we'll talk about that in a second, but there are many scientific studies that show the impact of it. And one thing is it can release your feel-good hormones like dopamine, serotonin. So it's literally restructuring your brain, which can have anti-aging properties then. And by then helping to elevate your mood, that helps with stress reduction, which then helps with sleep, which helps with motivation. It helps with your relationships. And by gratitude, I guess we're just talking about just basically looking around you and noticing what you're grateful for. And it doesn't have to be anything big. It can be having a roof over your head, or shoes on your feet, or mittens when you go outside in the cold right now. And by just thinking about those things, it can change your entire day around. But so along with those scientific studies, I think it's fun because when we first started dating, I think it was kind of every night when we go to sleep, you'd say, what made you smile today? And what are you grateful for? And it was just a very simple but effective way to reflect on our days and to notice okay, maybe it wasn't the best day. Maybe I didn't smile a lot, but at least this one thing made me smile today. And again, maybe it wasn't the best day, but yet I'm still grateful to have spent the night with you, or to have had a really good dinner. And it just kind of puts things into perspective. When did you start doing that?
With you? I don't even know. I don't know if
someone do that with
asked.
Me.
You're the only person I've done that with. The smile thing, I think. Someone must have asked me that at some point. I can't imagine I came up with that on my own. But I started asking, I had a client who I started asking what he was grateful for back when I first started personal training. And he was the most receptive to that question. I had asked and still do ask other clients what they're grateful for all the time, but he was the most receptive. So I asked him every week when I saw him on Mondays, every week. And then he eventually switched to run coaching. So I was not seeing him weekly in person anymore. And I put a phone, calendar reminder to text him every Monday. So I started texting him, what are you grateful for, every Monday? And it's fallen off a little bit now, but I did that. And I think that kind of then led into the what made you smile today. Or maybe you asked me that first. I have no idea. But then I started asking you that. But yeah, I ask clients the gratitude one all the time, especially around the holidays. And I don't know if it's partly because it's my way of practicing gratitude, not to transition, I guess, but it's kind of natural. But I think that's partly my way of practicing gratitude, is by asking other people, because most days, I ask someone what they're grateful for, what are they happy about today, what made them smile, whatever, something along those lines. And by asking people that, it makes me think about mine. So
it's a really good way of connecting with people too. It's a very fast thing. And it's more specific than how's your day or how are you doing?
Right. If you ask someone what they're grateful for, what made them smile, or what they're happy about, or are you happy? That's another good one too. it's really interesting to see the responses. A lot of people get thrown off too, though.
I mean, because if you ask, how are you doing? Our automatic answer is, I'm good.
Yeah.
Like, how are you?
Right.
But if you say, what are you grateful for?
Yeah.
That's not just yeah. What?
Right.
You know,
right.
It actually makes you think a little deeper. Like, okay, what am I grateful for?
Right. Well, and then also kind of where it stemmed from, that practice for me was my mentor Todd, who was on the podcast, whatever episode that was, when this was probably my first year getting into training and being in it for like the whole year. And the cool thing about personal training, and I'm assuming acupuncture is like this too, is I get to see cool patterns where everyone I train is very different and unique. The one thing that brings them together is that they're into fitness in some way, or the majority of the people I train are runners, right? So what brings them together in the same like sense is that they're all runners. Everything outside of that's different for the most part. That's what's cool about hobbies, right? And with that though, you still see patterns in mood. You see like when one person gets sick, a lot of people get sick. It's like all in the same week, these types of things happen, right? And it was the first Thanksgiving-ish time, like November-ish time, that I was training clients. And I went up to Todd and I was like, dude, I feel like everyone is just sad or mad right now. I'm like sensing that. I feel as a lot of clients are like that. Are you getting that vibe too? He's like, oh yeah, I have tons of clients that are like either sad, distraught, mad, just ready for a break, whatever. And I said like, it was sad and I didn't really know what to do about it. And he's like, you know what we're going to do? We're going to order 20 gratitude cards. And we're going to handwrite 20 gratitude cards about what we're grateful for a specific person, and give out 20 of them. I don't think Todd did it, but I did it. But I gave Todd one of them. And I was also in a pretty down spot at that point in my life. So that was a very interesting gratitude practice for me too, that specific year. And that I think that as well just kind of also sparked like when you give other people gratitude or like ask other people gratitude, it allows you to have gratitude as well.
Yeah, it's the ripple effect.
Right. So that's how it stemmed for me. And I go through phases too where I'll journal, but I'm just not consistent with that lately because I just haven't been. So.
And the cool thing is that it's a free hack.
Yeah.
You know, we talk a lot about biohacking. It's like, yes, we have red light, we have sauna, cold plunges. Like there's so many things we can do. But things like meditation and gratitude are free things that you can implement every day and that don't take that long. You can even be doing it in your car, for example.
Yeah.
And I don't know if my mom was always like this growing up, but I feel like my gratitude stuff definitely came from her too. She always had a gratitude journal like out on the kitchen counter. And then she'd always want us to write in it every day. Not sure if I ever did, but she'd ask if we were writing in the gratitude journal. And I feel like she was always saying, you know, that she was grateful for us, what she was grateful for. And even if, you know, you have kids that roll their eyes at it, you're still like, they're still sponges. Like people are still picking up on that. And even if, you know, you have a client that maybe won't answer, it's like everyone, like you're still thinking about it, you know? And like you said, with the gratitude journal, that's one super effective way that you can even like, if you want to make this into an actual practice, we both have gratitude journals where I've also have not been super consistent lately because I don't have it. I used to have it out on the counter so that every morning it was just like right there and I would just write out things and I just go through random things. And since I'm not the best at journaling either, it was just another very good way to like keep track of like, I'm grateful that I got to have dinner with my grandmas and I'm grateful that I got to go on this long run this weekend, or I'm grateful for the really good soup we made. And it's just like a fun way to like look back at things too. And I was doing a lot when I was still in grad school. And I'd say I'm grateful that I have 10 clinical shifts left. And it's just another metric to see how far you've come to and what you were grateful for at the time.
So that's the main way that you practice the journal?
the journal is a really good one. And then I like what we were saying about just literally asking, what are you grateful for today? And what made you smile? I think that's a really good one. And even I feel like our motto of we get to do this is kind of like a gratitude practice almost. And at the end of our podcast, when we're asking what's our, we get to do this moment of the week, it's basically a gratitude moment.
Right.
That we're thinking of. And I was saying before the podcast too, and just like the effects on your mood, I was saying, try saying what you're grateful for while you're frowning.
Let's do it. You go first.
I'm grateful for this podcast.
This needs to be on YouTube. Go watch that part on YouTube. We're about 20 minutes in.
Please don't. It's embarrassing.
I'm grateful for Kailee.
You're smiling.
I did it.
Your eyes are lit up.
But it's hard to do that.
You can't.
Yeah. Mark, I won't say his last name, but remember when you did your 200 and we filmed that video for you?
Yeah.
He said something along the lines of, when it gets hard out there, you should practice gratitude because it's very hard to, It's very hard to feel down when you're practicing gratitude. Something along those lines.
Something like that.
During the 200, when you were in tough spots during the race, say people you're grateful for, or, but I also feel like that's a good, on that line, it's also important to point out during the holiday season, there's a difference between gratitude and toxic positivity too. Yes. So I will say, I do also see clients and whatnot, friends, whomever, that are sad, mad, and don't feel that either, So there's a difference there. We're not saying there's a book called Toxic Positivity. If you're curious about this, go read it, but don't not feel your emotions at the sake of, don't use gratitude to bury emotions either. Right. So just, be careful what you're using it for.
Yeah, definitely.
So, but I was also going to say that, another thing that you can do is along the lines of telling other people that you're grateful for them. That's another really fun thing to do. It makes me smile in a selfish way because I feel like it's so uncomfortable and in a funny way though, not in a mean, just people aren't used to hearing that. And throughout the year, I'll tell my clients I'm thankful for them, but during Thanksgiving this year, I told all my clients, I was like, hey, I'm grateful for you. Have a good Thanksgiving. And so many of them stop for a second and they go, they don't know how to respond to that. And then they'll go, oh, I'm grateful for you too, or something like that. So, it's just,
Yeah, try putting it into words and not yes, a journal and stuff is great too, but try asking someone else what they're grateful for or telling them that you're grateful for them, because that is that ripple effect.
Right.
And especially in times, in the last month, there was a lot of hurts there's just a lot of emotions going around, and that would be a good time to okay, let's change the narrative a little bit here. Even if you're sad or mad, whatever, we always have the power to change the dynamic in the room. Everything is energy. Life is energy. And how we come across and what we emit carries a very long ways and has a lot more impact than we think it does. And even in the holiday season, if you're with family that maybe you don't even really like, you can change that, And if you don't want to, then don't go with that family. But yeah, I think our words just carry a lot of power. And what you're saying about with the race too, that's another place that I really like to. It's so beneficial to practice gratitude when you're racing or when you're working out. And I've said this before, but every time I'm running, it's wow, I'm so grateful that I have the ability to do this. Doesn't mean that some days it's very hard to get out running. Doesn't mean I'm just super jazzed every single time. But when you get out there, it's well, I am grateful that I can do this. And during races and stuff, I like to, especially on hills, for example, when things get really hard, I think of who I'm grateful for, or do a hill like in honor of somebody else that I'm grateful for. And again, it's just making it about something bigger than just yourself. So yeah, I guess a lot of it leads to that connection with others too. And maybe that's why it's so powerful too, because it takes you out of just yourself. I mean, yeah, you can be grateful for who you are as a person, but typically I feel like I'm grateful for the relationships I have, or the friendships I have, or the home that I share with my partner or my animal. And yeah, it's about more than just us.
I love it. Gratitude.
I'm grateful for you.
I'm grateful for you. Aww. And we're grateful for all of our listeners.
Yeah, super grateful for all of you who listen.
I said it at my class on Friday, but I think I even shouted out we get to do this then too. But, you can speak on behalf of your company, but from like we get to do this in an Oak Endurance standpoint, I wouldn't be where I am without all of you listening right now. Right. So I'm just lucky. I get to wake up every day and do what I love. I'm so lucky. And clients, friends, families, whatever it is that have helped me get to this point. Like there isn't a day that goes by that I don't legit that I don't think wow, thank you all. So thank you all for listening. Thank you for supporting.
Yeah, same. And I feel like we talk about this every day in our businesses and how grateful we are to have people that choose to come see us and have made so many friendships out of the work we do. And I feel like what we do, kind of our work is just a little more unique and building these relationships and connections with people. And neither of us would be here without you all. And we get to do this moment of the week was Friday for your Black Friday class. And you can say it too. Don't get mad. But we just had so many people there from both of our worlds. People that, we've been friends with. Some of my friends from high school were there, and family. And then people that, we've just met in the last year or so. And just to have so much support there and connection and friendship. And then we got to come home and we baked cookies with my sister and her boyfriend for another 6 hours. And it was just very much of a, wow, we are so lucky and we get to do this. And we've talked about it every hour since.
Yeah, my we get to do this moment was that Black Friday class as well. I think what was so cool about that is I never advertised that. I think that was what was really cool. And it wasn't intentional. I've been busy with work in the past month, which is another we get to do this moment where I just haven't had time for social media. And I mean, one person business problems, I guess, but also I'm okay with it. And I just never posted it on social media. I emailed it out to all my clients. And you emailed it out to your clients. I don't think you posted it on social either. I may have posted it on Strava. I don't think I did. My point, though, is that it was the first class I've ever sold out. And the amount of support we got for that was incredible. And I had some of my merch that day, too. And people, I thought, seemed to really enjoy it. And it was, it was that morning, I just felt like I wasn't working at all. I'm just hanging out with friends. Only the difference is I get to tell them to work out and I get to not.
Yeah.
When you guys are doing the core stuff, I get to just play music and yell at you.
And dance.
And dance around. So. And
that's just what we're grateful for.
Right. And that was, and that capped off the best month I've ever had. So I'm on cloud 9 a little bit right now in terms of business stuff, and I'm just so grateful. So that's why we get to do this, and I'm so happy some people trust us, and I'm not about to let that trust go to waste. So.
And if you want to join us for Jacob's next class that I'm also co-hosting,
this is through your Actually, this is through your payment link, so technically I am the co-host.
Isn't it both co-hosts?
Whatever.
We're co-hosting a New Year's workshop. It's a vision and strength workshop. So it'll be 60 minutes of strength and then 60 minutes of a vision workshop. And it's basically me reflecting on 2024, kind of things we're talking about today, which will be, so if you want to start practicing gratitude, this will be a very good thing to go to. Reflecting on 2024 and then talking about 2025 and kind of looking ahead while also being present. But I think it's always good to be mindful of, again, how far you've come, where you see yourself going, and how you feel about yourself now. And there's only 12 spots available for this one, so it's a little smaller class so that we can have more community time, like talking and sharing.
Keep it a little more intimate. And it's $50?
$50 for the 2 hours.
$50, January 1st, 9 to 11 a.m.
You get both Jacob and I.
You get both Kailee and I. And I will say that one of the things that makes us stick out in our respective fields is us in settings like this. So if you're curious, if you want to come kind of be a part of that, this would be a great thing to do that at. And I would sign up sooner rather than later because I do anticipate this selling out again. So, especially since there's like 8 less spots. So we'll be emailing it out and putting it on socials this time.
Yeah.
And we'll put it in the podcast show notes too.
It's available to anyone, so don't feel like you need to be.
Yeah, you do not need to be a current client of either of ours.
Yeah.
So
you don't need to be a bodybuilder or anything either.
No, or a runner or an endurance athlete. Anyone that
You're very good at offering modifications.
Yeah. If you want to get a good strength class in on January 1st with good people, there'll be 11 other people, plus Kailee and I. And if you want to set some intentions for 2025 and look back in 2024 with us there to guide and help, then
work out mind, body, and soul with some really cool people.
Great way to start the year.
You hear us talking about community a lot, and there's some really good people. So if you're looking to make friends and people you're grateful for, this would be a good thing. We appreciate you all.
Episode 19. Thank you for everything. It's been a good first 19 episodes. Next up, you get to hear another 10 things episode. So
special.
Be on the lookout for that one. Thank you all.
Thanks.